Good morning, dear listener. This is Zach again. I'm not going to do the captain's log thing because that would take a little too much time, but it made me laugh. So we are at the start of day 2 of KeyForge Celebration. Had a lovely hotel breakfast with a number of the attendees, and I am signed up for Alliance Standard. So I don't know if I'm going to be maining this format going forward, but it's the best chance to test it, try it out for myself. Maybe I'll scrub out and jump on commentary. Who knows? What I decided to play, instead of going for some just coda controlled degeneracy, I'm bringing Parthenia Mahamon of the Head Sea with one of her houses swapped out for a really just gas untamed house to see if I can get the Tesmals to fire often enough to slap my opponents around, whose game plans will probably be pretty clear because it's Alliance Standard. Might scrub out. That would be fine. There's plenty of fun stuff to play. Might just get Control the Weak over and over again. But I want to play so I have the experience. I can give feedback to Ghost Galaxy and form, a more legitimate opinion on this format that I had a pretty strong reaction to when it came out, which is why I stayed away from keyboards and microphones for a hot minute. So I am all checked in. I think people are just going to be playing KeyForge all day today. Unchained duels with the Unchained decks. The Winds of Exchange fun with people's extra decks that they weren't playing yesterday. And I am sitting here with a buddy from my local scene. What's your name, sir? I mean, I know it, obviously.
Dylan, or Mr. Thrifty.
That's right. We actually connected on the Team Covenant Discord of all places, which was funny. So how was your experience for the first day?
It was good. I went 1-2 in Alliance Sealed. My 1 came off of a bye, so that was great. But I can say I'm with you. When Alliance was first announced, I thought no. But seeing it, playing it, it's still KeyForge, and it's fun. It's great, and it's great to see everybody here, whether they're playing Archon Standard, Archon Alliance, Sealed Standard, whatever it is. Everybody's talking to each other, talking about what matches they've played, and it's all positivity, and it seems like KeyForge is back alive, and it's thriving with Alliance, with Archon, with everything, and it's going good.
Yeah, I agree. The phrase I keep hearing people say is exactly what you said in regards to once they've started playing and testing Alliance, they say it's still KeyForge. It's still KeyForge. Now, Alliance Standard might need some tuning on the restricted list so that there's not negative play experiences, but especially Alliance Sealed, it just felt like KeyForge with a few extra steps, Now, so I know you went on a bye and then you went 2, but do you think having the 2 decks and the options to swap things in and out, did that change your experience at all of Sealed?
It did. So the first match, you look through your decks on Sealed, and I said, okay, I'm going to try these combos. It didn't go very well. I had 1 key to my opponent's 3, 5 amber left on the board. But between the next matches, and luckily I had a bye, so I had plenty more time. But it felt good to be able to sit down and say, okay, that did not work. Let me see if I can swap out some things to make it work. And so I swapped out my token creature, which was a 2 power, no shield. I think it was the ability on my token creature was a look at the top card of your deck. And I can't remember if it said discard it or put it on the bottom of your deck.
Oh, I think it's you may discard. I think that's Explorer from Star Alliance.
Yes, that's correct. That's what it was. And unless you just have a game plan and you're looking at the top card to say, oh, that's going to come in handy in a minute, I didn't find a lot of value in playing that card myself. But my other token is a Saurian 5 power, 2 armor beefy boy.
Bellator and Warrior, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm swapping this token in, and I'm going to swap out this house for my Saurian house. That way, because my opponent in my first match, he played a token that was of a house not in his deck. And I was like, well, I don't want to make that mistake. I want to be always able to use other cards plus my tokens. And it went well my second match, but my opponent had so much going on, and my first few draws were so poor in my favor. 1 or 2 cards playable at a time type of thing. Near the end, he already had 2 keys forged and 2 amber on the board, and I didn't have a single key forged. And I finally got 5 of my tokens on the board. Had 2 or 3 other cards on the board, but it was too little too late. But I could tell the deck had more potential, and it was more fun. And it definitely, that agency aspect is great. It's a great feeling.
Yep. Got an announcement happening right next to our table here. All right, there we go. So yeah, it sounds like even though nobody likes getting to buy and then go and then taking 2 losses, right? But it sounds like you were able to make decisions that you felt good about, even though you then lost the next game. And the great thing about how they've set it up, and Second Amber being the standard for these events going forward, is that you can play in Second Amber. You can play against the Key-Raken. You can do Unchained duels. So did you find ways to enjoyably spend your time after that?
I did. So, of course, I went around to some buddies, checked up on them and their records, and obviously rooting for Zach here. He's 5-0 so far on yesterday.
Oh, my God, I forgot that. Oh, intimidating.
So it's great to go up to your buddies, check how they're doing, root them on. On top of that, I didn't do any Second Amber myself because it was already real late, and I just didn't want to get started on Second Amber that late. But I did go around to other people that had been knocked out as well. Got a few Unchained matches in, 3-1 currently on Unchained. It was very fun. Cool to see what those decks can do. I thought they would be a little more chaotic, but they still have that finite amount of chaos in them, and it's fun. My Unchained deck has a library access, so it's really fun to play that. Of course, unfortunately, the Unchained version you still have to purge. But it's a fun deck, and I'm looking forward to today. Everybody's doing Archon Standard or Alliance Standard today, and I knew my personal decks, Allianced or not, aren't strong enough for what some of these heavy-hitting opponents are bringing today. So I decided to just be a crazy man. I bought a brand-new Dark Tidings deck this morning, and I registered that deck before I even opened it for my Archon Standard today, and I'm taking that today, and because if I lose, I lose, and I'll play some Unchained, I'll play some Second Amber, and I'll have a lot of fun. And if I make it somehow to the top, then it's a great story to tell, right? So we're just going to have some fun and just enjoy the day.
That, no matter how well I do, I think that is the most KeyForge thing I have heard about this weekend, is buying a Dark Tidings deck, and you're just going to play an Archon Standard. So I'm definitely going to be rooting for you.
Yep, trying my best to be the Vault Warrior, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. One more thing I want to get your take on, Dylan, because I know you got into the game initially, played a bunch, and then the pandemic, you didn't play much at all. What we didn't cover yesterday, dear listener, is the announcement of the big tournament formats, both at the store-run, fan-organized level, and then the big payout level. There's the World Championship has a $50,000 prize pool. There's going to be 10 Vault Tours during 2023 with a $10,000 prize pool each. Winning, and I won't go through all the details because there's also regionals, nationals, store championships, not necessarily in that order. And then a number of things they're equipping stores and players to do to get people in. As somebody who's jumped back into KeyForge, what was your reaction to seeing the fact that they're putting cash prizes behind some of these bigger tournaments?
It's great. Now, for me, I can't travel everywhere for KeyForge. A lot of people can't. But for those that can, it's great news, and it shows their commitment to organized play. It shows their commitment to the game to invest $150,000 a year in prize money alone. That's a great commitment, showing that they are really going to be invested in KeyForge and its ongoings and its future. And so I think we have a lot to look forward to, and we don't have to worry that it's just going to go under one day, because obviously they're really pushing behind this thing to keep it alive.
Yeah, I fully agree. I'm super excited. I'll make sure, if I can remember, I'll try to link any pictures or information on that tournament stuff in case you haven't seen it, listener. And I'm going to double-check the details on the store and fan-level stuff they announced, where you can buy kits to run nights, so that I can talk about that a little bit more in-depth going forward. Anyways, Dylan, thanks so much for chatting, man. I appreciate it.
Yep, everybody have a good day, and good luck to you, Zach, on tomorrow in the top 8 and today on your Alliance Standard. So have good games.
Woohoo! Thanks, man. All right, listener, I will be checking in later. You'll hear from me actually in just maybe a second or two. We're back, dear listener. I am sitting here minutes before the start of my first official Alliance Standard match. And my opponent, who are you, Mr. Opponent?
So I'm Kelly Sparks, otherwise known as DePapa on TCO, and here to play the Alliance with an actual Archon deck.
Yeah, I noticed that you only had one Archon card out, and I hadn't asked you yet. So you've just got one straight unmodified deck, is that right?
Yes, that's what I brought today, and I spent a lot of time helping some of my fellow SOAR players put together some decks, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they do. For as much thought I put into them, I didn't have enough time and effort to put in mine, so I'm bringing a Dream Killer deck. We'll see. I'm anticipating that we're going to see two type of decks rise to the top, probably combo decks, and then the counter to that, a big Infernus kind of set up to purge those cards. So I brought just a really fun deck. Didn't play well in primes before, and I got really down on it. And I thought, this is a good day for it to see how it really does and see what it does. So we'll see how we go.
Awesome. I think that's a very true to your name of DePapa and your coaching status. You spent more time helping other people and putting your own together. It does make me nervous that you called it a Dream Killer deck because my deck is made of janky dreams that I'm just trying out to have fun. So we'll see what comes out on top. All right. Good game and good luck, man.
Good luck. May you play your best KeyForge.
You too. Hello, listener. Kelly and I have just finished our very first game of official Alliance Standard. So I've got my Rocket Tesmal deck, and I actually managed to close out the game with my double Tesmals. So, but it was a good game. Kelly got 2 keys. Stuff functioned like I did. Kelly, how did you feel about the game? I know you brought an unmodified deck. I've got a modified deck. How did you feel about the experience?
So I enjoyed it. The deck I'm playing is called Leakum, Leakym, Duke of the Acadian Barnyards. You can look that up. I find it's a really good crush deck, so has a lot of control in it. But I got 17 amber just coming out of the deck as I play through it. So I didn't mind, if I was going to get locked out of a house, because as long as I can keep my hand moving, it was fine. We had a good opener. However, we got to a point where I had 5 discs, and I got punctuated equilibrium. You got a nice Child Hazard play, which my asthma didn't get to interfere with. And then once you got the double Tesmals out, you called Shadows and Discs, and I was holding a handful of Shadows. So the nice thing about my deck is I can play it. I'm going to lose, so I'm just wondering if I can have an impact. We had a great game. Thank you very much. And I would point out you did win that game without the rocket boots.
The Tesmal out, the realistic Tesmal out, is just locking out of key houses at key moments. The rocket boots is technically present, but it's not the biggest out I'm going for. It's really just counting discard piles, because rocket boots ends the game, but if all I need to do to get to a third key is lock you out here and there, I don't need a full lock, right? Like you can't get over focused on this ideal of control if it's more than you need, right? Especially if it's too hard to get to. So
recursion really brought the important things back. So built together a really nice deck. I'm curious what insights that gives into your soul of what the kind of deck you brought. But yeah, it was really fun. May you do well in tournament moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Hey there, dear listener. So after the battle with Kelly, that was my 1 win on Alliance Standard. Unfortunately, I played JJ, a fantastic opponent with quad routine job. Could not outpace the routine jobs. Made 1, not total punt, but definitely I think a mistake. A mistake about a third of the way into the game that really cost me. Fantastic opponent, really great game. Got 2 keys and a bunch of amber when he won. And then my last opponent was This. Ryan is his real name. He's from California. He was a fantastic opponent. He had also just a whole lot of Call of the Archon's goodness. Both decks were all Call of the Archon's goodness. Speed, burst, key cheats, some control. So that's what I was up against, and my Rocket Tezzy setup with gas really held its own. Lots of recursion for the Tezzies and for the desk witches, all the exhumes. It really held its own. It was a ton of fun to play. But yeah, I went 1 and 2 there. So I scrubbed out. By then it was quite late. I had not eaten. So I actually, once I finally got some food that took a while, I went and I took a nap and I rested a bit and I came back refreshed. Was just able to do some commentary with the Tabletop Royale guys. Might be doing some more of that. And I've been playing a lot of Unchained, which is great. I'm 5 or 6-0 with my Unchained deck, doing the Unchained duels all around KeyForge Celebration. So that's fantastic. After 3 rounds of Alliance Standard, my thoughts are this so far. I think the restricted list will need to be fine-tuned a bit more to a place where it's a really fun format. Now, that's not to say that I think there are cards I played against that need to be restricted. I actually think the Call of the Archons decks I played against are actually perfectly fine. It feels like it's just going to give everybody a little bit more access to that really, high-end coda, high-end of any particular set, because they can construct it. They've got that agency there. However, the reports from the floor are that most decks that are making top cut for Alliance Standard are Martian Generosity, usually Key Abduction decks. Those things are rough. Those things are winning in droves right now in Alliance Standard. The one standout is really Justin from TTR brought a Dark Discovery deck with, I think, Logos and Forgive or Forget. So a Dark Tidings deck that's really just eating it all up, which is a pretty huge win, and I love that. So Alliance Standard, it still feels like KeyForge to me. I don't know if it's something I would pursue for fun, if there are competitions around where I live. And I do think the restrictedness is going to lead another good pass, maybe adding another kind of restriction. I heard Z from Archon's Corner talk about restricting max copies of any card to 2, or maybe any card on the restricted list to 2. Yeah, and I think Martian Generosity, Key Abduction, one of those is really going to have to be added to this format. That said, I think the format can have a bright future, and I'm coming around to the fact that it does give utility, it does give use to all your old decks. It gives it possibility. The Untamed pod I'm running in my Rocket Tesmol setup is from an Untamed deck that was part of a bulk lot I bought kind of by accident a while back. So that's been great. And I haven't forgotten about Sydney Steele, y'all. I can actually, her and her husband, Chris Steele, are sitting nearby. I'm going to try to grab that interview you've been promised in a little bit. So more reflections to come as the night goes on. I will keep you informed. Whew, and that is it, the end of day 2 of KeyForge Celebration. We played the main rounds, the double elimination rounds of Archon, traditional Archon, and then Alliance Standard. So, as you know, I went 1 and 2 there. But really, the biggest glaring problem that I'm sure you're yelling at me about right now as you listen to this is that we haven't interviewed Sydney Steele yet, like we said we would yesterday, and we did not today. At the very end of the day, I got to commentate. They were finishing up some of the games for the sealed Alliance double elimination. The losers bracket had a few more games to work through. I got to commentate on the Tabletop Royale Twitch channel. Got to see a bunch of awesome cards there. And Sydney was off playing games and was actually playing against Michael Hurley, I think Director of Operations, but you'll know him from Ghost Ship Games. And he had just forged a key using Blorb Hive against her. And so the night was wrapping down. I'm sleepy, but we'll catch her tomorrow. I'm sure we'll catch her tomorrow, along with a number of other people. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Kelly today after the Alliance game, from Dylan this morning, who is just fantastic. I love that he's a part of my local scene. So more coming at you for day 2. And, of course, I almost forgot about this, the top cut, the top 8 for Sealed Alliance, where I will be playing to try to win the first Sealed Alliance tournament by Ghost Galaxy. We'll see what happens. I'll play my best. I'm just excited to have made it, and we will see what we're up against tomorrow. We'll see what we're up against tomorrow. All right. Good night, listener. See you soon.